So let's talk about these evolutionary relationships that we're going to define as phylogeny. So we can look at a diagram of these evolutionary relationships through these phylogenetic trees. Okay, and our phylogenetic tree, it could be at species level, it could be at family level, it could be at class level. We just looked at a phylogenetic tree at the domain level. So this can be at any of those taxonomic levels that we just talked about. And how to interpret and read these phylogenetic trees to determine the evolutionary relationships of all these organisms is an important skill. So we're going to spend a little bit of time thinking about this. Okay, so we got to talk about the parts of our phylogenetic tree. So hiding behind these boxes is the answer. So if you have made a copy of this lecture slides, you can use these to quiz yourselves. Okay. All right, so the first thing that we want to talk about are these tips. Okay, so these letters are the tips of the phylogenetic tree, and these represent uh, living organisms. Okay, so these are, I should say, living taxa, as opposed to taxa that have gone extinct. Okay, so I'm going to put that right next to there. Okay. These two living taxa, A and B, are called sister taxa because they are closely related. They share a very recent common ancestor. So down here, this group F, this is our outgroup. This is the most distantly related of the living taxa. So this one is kind of the weirdo amongst the A, B, C, D, and E. F is kind of the odd man out. Okay. All right. So these nodes, these are the common ancestors of the living taxa. So if we go back, so let's start with A and B, and we can go back in evolutionary time and find where those branches intersect. And that's where our common ancestor is. And this is our extinct common ancestor, right? Okay. Our branches are representative of evolutionary time that show how long it has been since the common ancestor of those organisms have diverged. So if we're looking at taxon C and D, so to get to the common ancestor of C and D, we have to go back along here, but we haven't found where D intersects, so we got to go back this way even further. And so the common ancestor of C and D is going to be way back here. So we have to travel farther through evolutionary time than we did to get to the common ancestor of A and B, or even the common ancestor of A and B and C, which is going to be found at this node. Okay. And then this last thing is the root. This is a special node, and this is the common ancestor of all of the living taxa represented in this phylogenetic tree.